welcome to In My Mug, episode 306 on Monday, the 22nd of September 2014. I am your host, as always, Mr. Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug and welcome to our news. Okay, so let's get on with our news. So, as I promised last week, I did the Marathon de Medoc. Pictures on the screen now. New records were set. Most wine drank, 20 glasses. Most oysters eaten on a run, that was 6. Longest distance ever run, which was 27.1 miles. Worst time and longest time on the road of 6 hours and 7 minutes. So, yeah, I was quite headachy by the end. Oh, and it was also 35 degrees centigrade, and I was in fancy dress the whole way around. So, yeah, I'm kind of quite surprised I finished it. Some new Costa Ricans are going to be going on the site this week, and a special one for next week's In My Mug. The treats just keep coming and coming. I think you're really going to like this one next week. There's a great story behind it. Kind of something I'm quite proud of, and it's been a little bit of work to get there, but it's good. And anyway, yeah, the last chance to try the collab coffee, our collaboration with 3FE. We stopped taking orders on Tuesday night, then you'll have missed your chance to try La Lujon Honey and Natural together, roasted by 2 different teams, as I've said to them. If you want to find the details, go back and watch previous In My Mugs over the last couple of weeks. And that was the news. So we should go to focus on, and I can't be bothered to do it this week, so I'm going to get a friend to come and sit beside me and tell you about the Indian coffee industry. So this is a very special focus on. I have a guest, Fayaz from Bibi Plantation in India. So excited to have you here, first of all. Thank you for agreeing to come.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Not many people come to Stafford, so Fayaz has ventured up the motorway and come and spent the day with us here. So the focus on, I want to talk about Indian coffee because it's something I don't know enough about. You're the only person we buy from in India.
Oh, okay.
Everything else we've ever tasted, we've never loved as much as your coffee. Primarily the Peabury we've always bought from you. Yeah. But we have this new lot as well, which I'm going to ask you some bits about after. But tell me about the Indian coffee industry. Is it strong? Is there a lot of people who work in it? Is there a lot of coffee produced?
Yeah, well, India has got one thing. India is known for its quality coffee. You know, almost 80 to 85% of the coffee is out of India is exported.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think in the next 3-4 years you're going to see that changing a little bit because you know the population is so big and coffee culture is catching on in a big way.
So there's a lot of coffee shops opening,
yeah,
isn't there? And Indian people are enjoying coffee culture. Why wouldn't they? Everybody else does in the world.
Exactly.
But for a long time it's been very tea driven, hasn't it?
Yes. Coffee has just caught on in the last maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Until then, you know, I mean, I think it's basically what's happening in the rest of the world. You know, the coffee culture is just spreading all over the world, and it's just now coming to India as well. You know?
And we're seeing so much of this in producing countries. So I think of places like Brazil, places like Guatemala, El Salvador, where these great coffee shops and coffee cultures are starting, and that's really exciting. Everybody knows about Indian monsoon, and not very many people know about the other specialty coffees that are grown there. What kind of varietals are grown in India? What do you think lead the way as the main varietals?
Well, basically Indian coffee is, it's basically Arabica and Robusta. What happened was it used to be like 65 Arabica, 35 Robusta, but now it's gone the other way. It's almost 70% Robusta and 30% Arabica because there's been a lot of problems with Arabica with the pests, and we have a disease called the white stem borer, which is destroying the Arabica plants. So
and this is, we were talking about this earlier that India is very well known for its great Robustas. The Robustas are of extremely good quality.
Exactly.
And almost the Arabicas get forgotten about because of the Robusta. But the Robusta is hardier.
Yeah.
Produces twice as much. is easier to look after and isn't affected by this disease.
Yeah, exactly.
And how does this affect the plant, the disease? What happens?
Well, what happens? It attacks the stump of the plant, and you have to completely uproot the plant.
Oh, wow.
You have to just destroy the plant because it can spread rapidly if you don't limit the damage immediately.
Wow.
So a lot of India's losing huge amount of area in Arabica production to this pest.
So I guess if you're ripping out an Arabica plant that's been affected by the disease, you don't want to replant Arabica, you'll just plant Robusta.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. India has its own leaf rust.
Leaf rust. Exactly. Exactly.
It's its own one and
Yeah.
its own challenges.
Yes.
I think that's definitely the most interesting focus on we've ever done. So thank you for that. That's great.
Oh, thanks.
So we're back, and Fayaz hasn't left me. He hasn't run away, which is fantastic. So I want to know a little bit about you. I want to know a little bit about how you ended up owning a coffee plantation and a little bit about the farm. So tell me a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Well, my father came to Coorg. That's the region where coffee is grown in the area where we live.
Yeah.
And it's the largest. It's the Karnataka. Coorg is in Karnataka state, which is the largest coffee growing state in India. My father came to Coorg in 1960, and he purchased a part of the farm, and then he adjoining there was again more land, and he purchased that, and and he died in 1983, and then I came to look after the farm. I started looking after the farm in 1990 after I finished my college and university education. So since 1990 till today, now I look after the farm.
And where did you go to school?
I went to the school in the US.
Oh, okay. Hence the great English and being able to put my language skills to shame. So second generation growing there. You were telling me earlier you grow some different things on the farm. So you don't just grow coffee. What else do you grow on the farm?
We grow a major crop we grow is black pepper. And it's interplanted with the coffee, and it kind of very neatly fits in along with the coffee, so you don't have to do anything extra or anything. And it's now not only in our farm, in almost the entire coffee growing region, black pepper has become a very important crop.
It's amazing. So whenever we cup the Bibi Peaberry and this micro lot that we're going to try in a little while, I'm so reminded of a spiciness in there.
Oh.
I have this spiciness, and I've used black pepper. It's the first time I'd heard this today when you were telling me.
Yeah.
So, and we find this a lot, that when things are grown nearby, they tend to have this influence or and I don't know if it's true or whether it's just coincidence, but definitely with this coffee I find there's a lovely spiciness with it, and a great body. So tell me about this micro lot. So we ended up buying this very small lot from you. Tell us a little, because first of all I'm interested in the varietal. So it's Catuvai.
Catuvai. HTT Catuvai is the varietal, and it was basically like a very special lot picked from 2 blocks in our estate, and it was double washed, and then also left overnight in underwater.
Underwater fermentation usage that we've talked about before.
And then the next day, and obviously it's sun dried on the patio. Basically that's it. And then made sure that it was stored properly, and everything was taken care of, in a kind of special way,
So what led you to try and use this unusual varietal that I've not seen anywhere before? This is the first time I've seen it.
No. Because usually from India you have the selection SL795. But now there's more varieties which have been developed by the Coffee Board.
And is it a hardier varietal against these things like disease?
It is, in the sense that the bush grows in such a way that it protects from the pest coming in, because the bush, it's more bushy, so there's not much gap in between the plants, so it's kind of like a carpet, so in that way it helps in controlling the pest.
Fantastic. I'm going to take advantage of you being here and talk a little bit about the Peaberry. How did you end up with so many, because Peaberry is 5-10% of the crop. And is that the same for you?
Well, it depends. It's what happens is in certain years the percentage of Peaberry goes up maybe by 4%, 5%, like that. Some years it comes down, some years it goes up. So I think a lot of it may be depending if there's good I don't know what I mean. Maybe good rain or good the weather conditions. It could contribute to that, but generally there's always a swing of 5-6%, up or down.
I'm always amazed by this coffee because, as I've said to you earlier, we get lots of Indian samples, and they're normally the horrible Monsoon Malabars, which I don't like. I don't think are very good.
Okay.
And then I get some other washed ones which are not very good. Yours is just so clean and transparent and so well looked at. You can actually taste the process in them, and that's why we bought it for so long. And I'm really pleased that we found an Indian coffee that we can love like we do your one.
Thanks.
And the guys back at home, I know, will be loving it too. Thank you very much for coming up here. We're gonna whap you. I'm gonna not let you suffer being on camera too much longer, but we're gonna do the tasting afterwards, and I'll do the tasting afterwards.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming. It's been great. I'm now gonna go to the map bit, and you get to see this amazing farm you get to get an understanding of where it is, and I feel like I've visited doing the map bit on this one. So here I am waving, always waving. And we're going up and away, and we're going to go up to see the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom of these great British Isles. And instead of going across the Atlantic, we're going the other way. Oh my God, something's happening. Something weird's happening. And we're going to go and look at India and is Asia a continent? I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it is. But we're going to go down to India, which is a huge country, as you can see. And interestingly, India consumes about half of the world's whiskey, and I consume the other half, personally. So yeah, interesting little factette there. We're going down to the details, and we can see the different states there. I mean, this is a huge place. You kind of don't get the scale of India until you really start looking at maps and how large it is. Let's go down to the plantation, and this little dot here is Fayaz's house. That's how much detail we have. Beautifully groomed. You can see there's some plantation parts there. So this is the plantation where the coffee and the pepper grown side by side, and that's his house. You can't get any more exact than that, really, can you? When you can kind of that might even be his bedroom. But yeah, so that's the detail that we have for the map bit for this one. It's nice when we can kind of get right into those little bits. And let's look at the lowest points of India. So the lowest point is the ocean, the Indian Ocean, I guess. And then Hashia Junga, which is 8,598 metres above sea level, which is quite high, isn't it? And that was the weird map bit. So that was the map bit. We should go and do Roland's daft fact of the week. India is the world's 6th biggest exporter of coffee, but is expected to become a net importer in the next 10 years. They're drinking more and more coffee, you know. This is true that India is drinking more and more of their own coffee and are starting to import coffee. And in the next decade, they will be a net importer. Producing countries are becoming consuming countries, me and Fayaz were saying earlier on. So I'm going to whap you on pause. I'm going to go and make tasty and delicious drinks, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, so we're back. It's really great having a guest on. Really cool. Fayaz was charming and intelligent and great company. Took him for a beer afterwards and really enjoyed his company. But let's go into this espresso. So, this coffee will not be to everybody's tastes. I am fairly confident of that. There is a thing on a forum, coffeeforums.co.uk. You should go check them out. Lots of great people on there. But they have this thing called the darker side of life, where they talk about darker roasting being these darker flavours, and the kind of coffees that we have, they kind of say, oh, they're all acidic and all fruity and not dark enough. And then there's another one that say lighter side of life, that they only like the lighter one. This is the perfect example of a coffee that fulfills those darker side of life needs. So there's body, it's spicy, it's got a great mouthfeel to it, but it's thick, it has base notes, and there's virtually no acidity. It's the tiniest of acidity, but it's all about the body. And Fayaz telling us about the black pepper that grows in between the coffee plants. I cooked this, I found black pepper, it went in the notes. I swear to you, I didn't know about the black pepper until he said that time. And it's been up on the site for weeks with this black pepper flavour in there. Spicy. It's the same with the peaberry. That's got this kind of spicy edge to it as well. I think it's amazing that there's that there. But this is that darker side of life. As an espresso, it's all in the base notes. I think it's delicious. Let's go into the milk. So, powers through the milk. Like, you taste coffee. This is a coffee flavoured coffee, if that makes sense. It's very obviously those big booming notes come through in the milk. It's exactly what I expect it to be. Now, all of those base notes in brewed coffee tend to not be so pleasant in the brewed coffee. You know, yes, they'll punch through me. Yes, it'd be a powerful espresso, but as a brewed coffee, it tends to be too much. But I don't think it is in this, because there is a cleanliness to it. It's cleaner than any Indian I've ever cupped. And the acidity is a little bit, it's instead of being on 1, it's on like 1.5 on the volume switch. And the lychee that I kind of put in the cupping notes is more obviously there in the brewed. It's not in the espresso or the milk. It's a great coffee. I'm really, really pleased that we can have something different like this and have this conversation. And it's really good. Okay, time to wrap up. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.